Hello, welcome to Leland Fly Fishing, Fly Tying Night tonight. I'm Brandon Moon, and tonight we're going to be tying up a North Country spider for March Brown. This is a March Brown pine squirrel North Country spider with a dubbing loop wrapping of the pine squirrel dubbing for the body. Gives it a nice good underbody look with where you see the thread color through it. So we're excited for that. Make sure you hit the like button and leave us a comment and let us know what your favorite fish is to chase in your home waters. And with this, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. So the hook we're going to be using today is the Moonlit Premium Tagata ML 102. I'm tying this in a size 12. I tie this in a size 12 through 16. I'm going to start my thread about one hook eye or a quarter of the hook length behind the eye of the hook. I'm using Semperfli Classic Wax 12/0 burnt orange thread. I'm going to lay a nice even underbody all the way back to the bend, just before the bend of the hook. Create a loop with my finger and lock it in place over behind it, and then secure it down going forward. I'm just going to hold that loop as I wrap my thread forward, creating a nice smooth underbody continuously to my tie-in point there. Now I'm going to take my Smayan dubbing twister and just put that hook in there, and I'm going to move my bobbin rest up so that that's not going to spin. It's just going to sit there where I left it. We'll half hitch this thread here at that point, and I just pulled it off the hook, so we'll do it again real quick. And I just want that half hitch to be right there at that start point where I started tying. Now I'm going to take some Moonlit pine squirrel dubbing in the natural. You could do the rust brown if you wanted as well. I'm going to use the springs on the Smayan to open that loop up, and then I'm just going to throw small patches of dubbing up into that loop. And I'm just going to kind of center it just a little bit. And we'll do a decent amount. I mean, you're about 1 inch to 1.25 inches. And then I'm just going to spin it. You can see how it's spinning there. And I have to release it so that it'll spin the thread up towards the top. Now I'm just going to kind of pick out some of those fibers that maybe are loose. And I'm going to use my rotary feature on the V2 Nirvana rotary vise, and I'm just going to wrap that forward, but I'm wanting these wraps to not be touching wraps so that there's a little bit of the thread body that's going to shine through underneath this dub body here. We're going to wrap this all the way up to our start point, and at this point I'll give it a little bit of a collar with an extra wrap there, and that'll help kind of flare out my hackle fibers just a little bit. This body with this pine squirrel dubbing is going to be very buggy looking when it gets wet, but it's also going to have good movement and life to it. So we'll just make sure we clean up that point there where we're going to tie in our hackle fiber here. And I do like to brush out my dubbing just a little bit. So here's our hackle fiber here. And you can see I prepped up the bottom side. Now we're just going to take and create a tie-in point. And you see my tie-in point there, and I'm just going to lay that over with my hackle going to the back side, so when I wrap it, it'll help lay rearward. Over the top twice and then in front once to secure that down. Once I've done that, I'll just clean that up a little bit, cover it up and secure it down with a couple wraps. Set my thread off to the side on my bobbin rest where I'll take my hackle tweezers and we'll wrap our hackle. This is the Tie Fly's hackle tweezer. And I'm just going to use my fingers as I'm wrapping to palmer this feather rearward, trying to keep it as clean as possible with pulling fibers that go forward, backwards as I wrap. Using the hackle stem with each wrap to help push those fibers rearward. And I'm just going to give about 3, sometimes 4 wraps, just depending on where I'm at. And once we've got that wrapped in, we're going to take our thread, we'll secure that down, 2 wraps over the top. I'm going to slide my hackle tweezers to the side there, out of the way, pull the fibers back so that I can clean that head up. Having a little bit of a struggle with some of those fibers, but we'll get it. And there you see we got them pulled back. Clean that head up. Now I'm just going to take a whip finish here, and I'll do a 3-turn whip. And then I'm going to use the cut tool on the end of my whip finish tool to trim that out. Take a razor blade like I do with my thread, and we'll trim that hackle stem out, and this gives me a nice clean cut. You can trim out any fibers on this that are kind of screw wonky and out of place if you want. I'm just going to preen out a couple there. Now I'm going to take some SolarEZ bone dry or head cement, either one will work, and I'm just going to get rid of the excess on this UV on my brush there. Pull the fibers back, and I'm just going to put a little dab on the thread there. And then we'll take our UV pin after we put the lid on that, and we'll cure that up. I am going to make sure and put my bodkin through there just to help clean it a little bit, and then cure it up with the pin. And there you have the March Brown Pine Squirrel North Country Spider. Thank you.